Testing, testing. 1, 2.
Greetings, everyone. From the space betwixt dimensions, I welcome you. I am Whesley von Gnathos, your zoological explorer throughout the worlds. It is my goal to create a comprehensive compendium of the creatures that inhabit the many different universes, whether they be from alternate versions of your Earth, or from realms that lie beyond your current reach, and shared with you through this show. I invite each and every one of you to partake in the knowledge of my Omni-Bestiary. For our inaugural episode, I thought that we should discuss a creature from one of the most explored and studied worlds in terms of animal research. The world of Pokémon. Today, we will be discussing Wailmer, the ball whale Pokémon. This water-type Pokémon, sharing many physiological traits with the whales of your world, such as a blowhole for respiration, baleen plates in place of teeth, and pectoral fins for underwater maneuverability, is a common sight around beaches and seafaring locales. They have the ability to store water within their elastic bodies and release it as harmless, playful sprays, or as high-pressure jets for defense. They are also known to use this property to intentionally beach on land and bounce around like a beach ball, an action that many believe is spurred by memories of their terrestrial ancestors. Humans in the Pokémon world often enlist the aid of Wailmer for ocean travel, underwater exploration, fishing, and other aquatic activities. It has even shown some impressive performances in races, despite its rather unaerodynamic appearance. Upon accruing enough experience in combat, Wailmer can metamorph into Wailord, the float whale Pokémon. This change of form warps Wailmer's body from a spherical shape to a more cylindrical one, grants it the use of a tail fin, and provides it with an extra pair of pectoral fins. Wailord consumes massive amounts of prey to keep itself going, and is therefore feared by smaller fish Pokémon, especially by the mobile buffet known as Wishy-Washy. Its appetite has even been known to interfere in fishing operations. This aside, Wailord has an amicable relationship with humans. Wailord watching is both a popular and successful recreational activity for many, so long as they keep a fair distance from its literally seismic reaches. As you might expect, considering the commanding influence the sport has on this world's culture, it has also seen use in Pokémon battles, most notably by home region champion Wallace. But of course, we cannot discuss this creature without talking about its most prominent trait, its size. Wailord is one of the largest known Pokémon to exist, boasting an average length of 14.5 meters, or 47 feet 7 inches, making it on par with medium-sized humpback whales in terms of size. It is also the runner-up to the title of biggest Pokémon, losing only to the recently discovered gigantic Pokémon, Eternatus. Their large size grants them several advantages, such as a large mouth to consume the aforementioned massive amounts of prey in a single gulp. Their large size also works as a defense mechanism to protect its pod from ocean predators, as it would make it difficult for them to effectively subdue Wailord, as well as the younger, weaker, and smaller Wailmer when their parents surround them. Of course, you'd expect such a large creature to weigh a lot, and yes, 398 kilograms, or 877.4 pounds, is more than sufficient to crush a small electrokinetic rodent. However, Compared to the humpback whale, Wailord only weighs about 1% of the humpback's weight. These bizarre proportions have led many to call into question the soundness of Wailord's anatomy. More specifically, does Wailord possess a body density that makes it float like a sentient blimp? Many people have used varying methods to try and measure Wailord's density, each of which led to different conclusions. But they all pretty much started the same way, by first taking Wailord's length and height? It says height? Is that being measured from head to tail, or is it from back to belly? Ugh, by this logic, it would be about 3 or 4 times taller than a blue whale. Okay, this means 2 things. 1, some Pokemon professor should be expecting some angry phone calls for not providing comprehensive scientific data. And 2, Wailord might be much, much larger than we all thought. Well then, new question. Under these circumstances, how long would Wailord actually be? Well, one way we can find it is to take the side view of the creature from the Pokédex and do some hands-on measurements. Knowing that we are measuring its dorsal to ventral height as 14.5 meters, we just need to take our high-tech measurement equipment, see how tall and long the image is, and do some dimensional analyses. Since the measurements of Wailord's body will be proportional to each other, despite changes in scale, that means if we know the height and length of Wailord in this picture, and the height of an actual Wailord, that means we can calculate the actual length of Wailord. So, let's do so. Length, 28.5 centimeters. Height, 9 centimeters. Okay, we convert that to meters. Now we multiply picture length by the actual height. Then we divide that by the picture height, making Wailord about 45.92 meters, or 150 feet 8 inches long. Wow. From here, we can apply these dimensions to find Wailord's density by first calculating its volume. By following the method implemented by Redditor PetscopMiju for her analysis on Wailord's density, who estimated that Wailord's body volume is the same as that of 2 domes and a cylinder, we can apply the height and body length into this equation and calculate volume for these structures. First, this part, the equation for the volume of a sphere. Since the 2 domes combine form a sphere, we can do this and get them both out of the way. Our equation is 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. Radius in this equation is equal to 1/2 of Wailord's height. So we calculate that, put it in, and multiply everything together. Kiddos, don't forget your PEMDAS. Making volume here about 1,596.26 meters cubed. We'll come back to that later. Now this equation, the volume of a cylinder. Pi times radius squared times length. Radius is once again 1/2 of Wailord's height. Length is equal to Wailord's length. However, we need to subtract 14.5 meters from that, as that was already calculated in the sphere equation. We're also subtracting the length of its tail, as it's not a significant part of its body. So, calculate everything. 4,070.45 meters cubed. Add that to sphere volume, which gives us a final volume of about 5,666.71 meters cubed. Now we just divide Wailord's weight by this value, which, I remind you, we're assuming stays the same, as per a rather convoluted interpretation of the Pokédex entry, which leaves us with a final density of 0.070 kilograms per meters cubed, which, oh my, that guarantees you'll be taking a trip to the stratosphere. Oh, good lord. Although its true dimensions are up for speculation, it is generally agreed that Wailord's buoyant body would, at the bare minimum, make it difficult for it to make the 10,000-foot dives that it has been claimed to pull off. So, how could it possibly do it? Some have suggested that it uses the water stored in its body to help increase its mass. Another, William Farmer from the University of Leicester, theorized that Wailord's consumption of prey might also help weigh it down, although it would need an astronomical amount of food in order to reach these depths. It is entirely possible that through a combination of weight manipulation and sheer physical effort, it could bypass its awkward composition. However, I'd like to throw in an additional hypothesis into the pot. It's time to talk about spermaceti. No laughing. Spermaceti is an oily wax found in the heads of whales, most prominently in the sperm whale, and was named as such because people used to think that splooge was stored in the brain. It was also valued by whalers, who used to harvest this substance to make candles, ointments, and lubricants. Research suggests that its biological function is to produce sound for echolocation, the use of sound waves to perceive one's environment in the ocean depths. However, it was also believed to control buoyancy. The idea is that by regulating the temperature of the spermaceti wax, the whale can change its density and allow itself to sink or float. Making it colder makes it more solid, thereby decreasing buoyancy so the whale can dive deeper, whereas heating it up liquefies it, which increases buoyancy so the whale can rise to the surface. So, do we have our answer here? Do Wailord share the same process as whales? Well, there's a minor problem. Spermaceti isn't really a reliable buoyancy control mechanism. Yeah. Additional scientific research shows that whales can't exactly consciously change the density of the wax. Yes, adjusting temperature can change its density, but without specialized temperature regulating structures in the spermaceti organ, they would have trouble doing this at will. So yeah, whales lack the tools needed to effectively control the temperature of their spermaceti, and can't really rely on it to change their ability to float. Wailord, on the other hand, unlike whales, Wailord might potentially have the tools needed to change their spermaceti density. For one thing, it is possible that differences in the evolutionary development of Pokémon and Earth species could have produced the necessary structures absent in whales. In addition, Wailord have been shown to have great control over their inner body temperature. We know this because they can defend themselves by heating the water they store before burning attacks like Scald, or by chilling vapors to launch freezing ones like Blizzard. As such, it is my hypothesis that Wailord could use the temperature-controlling organ involved in performing these attacks to do what whales cannot: change the density of spermaceti to control its buoyancy when diving underwater, as well as help mitigate the problems arising from this creature's nonsensical body. Now, before we adjourn, I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the more recent discoveries regarding this Pokemon. You see, about 4 years ago, trainers in the Alola region encountered Wailord that, for some reason, were significantly smaller than their relatives. Besides its size, there's absolutely no difference between it and its larger counterparts in terms of anatomy, behavior, and abilities. Even its weight appears to be unchanged, based on the scientifically accurate metrics used to measure it. As such, it was theorized that this is a subspecies of Wailord that arise as an evolutionary adaptation to keep their body density under control. Thus, scientists have dubbed this creature the Pygmy Wailord. And following its appearance, its distribution has spread to other regions of the world. Since then, people have had to live in a world where the so-called largest Pokemon also comes in a compact fun size. This was the norm for a while, until very recently, when a full-size Wailord was spotted near the Isle of Armor in the Galar region. When trainers went to attempt to capture it, they were shocked to see it shrink to the size of a pygmy Wailord. it became clear that this is not merely the work of some sort of evolutionary divergence. No. The truth about Wailord here is far more disturbing. Wailord can warp reality! The really bizarre thing here is Wailord isn't the only Pokemon that has been known to do this. The dimensions of other Pokemon have been known to warp around upon exposure to a consistent stimulus. Battle. Moreover, this has not been reported to happen during Pokemon battles in the past, so we know that this is a recent development. Scientists have been desperate to figure out why this phenomenon has been occurring. Is it a mechanical error from faulty Pokeballs? Is it the result of exposure to the unique energies of the Alola and Galar regions? Is it some sort of freak event where a bizarre evolutionary adaptation appears simultaneously in multiple species? No matter what the reason, due to these creatures' inability to stay fully immersed within the laws of reality, scientists have dubbed this phenomenon immersion breaking. Thus we conclude today's zoological exploration in another world. I hope you may come again so I may share more knowledge with you. But until then, take care, and, how do you end a YouTube video? Just subscribe? Eviscerate that like button?